Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Lavender Lab, where today we are going to be checking out another domain deck profile submitted by the one, the only Draco Eyes. Now, a funny thing about this deck profile in specific is that Draco Eyes isn't just the person who submitted it, we're actually collaborating together. If you go into the description right now, you will find a link to Draco Eyes' recent YouTube video. That's right, he has a channel now where he did a whole video breaking down his skill tree strategy for building decks just like this and including this deck. So we are going to be going piece by piece through that deck profile, and I highly encourage you to both subscribe here, of course, and to subscribe to Draco's channel. He has been a great friend and especially a great supplier of amazing domain decks, which, if you are unfamiliar, is a 4-player singleton 60-card format with a lot of crazy different rulings and no ban list. This one is no exception. So without further ado, let's get into the deck of Keeper of Dragon Magic, the skill tree strategy. So, Keeper of Dragon Magic has a couple of different options that you can play with it. It is a Dark Dragon monster, level 4, 1800, 1300, and if it's normal or special summon, you can discard a card to add a Polymerization or Fusion normal spell from your deck to your hand. It has another effect to revive things in face down defense position, but it is extremely good for spitting out fusion monsters, and it can be done so in a deck that mixes its two intended archetypes of Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician, along with a couple of other fun cards that you may recognize from the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, such as the Dragon Tails. Here I'll go ahead and take you through a small step-by-step of each of these packages, starting with the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, Blue Eyes White Dragon is a fairly straightforward package in this deck. We've got Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, White Stone of Ancients, and Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. A very easy combination of monsters to summon. Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon is actually fairly easy to summon without using its alternative summoning condition, so you can take advantage of that. But these are just very big bodies, especially having Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard to have Jet Dragon recycle itself over and over for protection is an extremely good strategy, especially for a long, grindy format game like Domain. With that out of the way and Blue Eyes covered, let's get into the next engine, the Dragon Maids, who are one of our other dragon alternatives. You can see we have Chamber Dragon Maid here, Dragon Maid Stern, Parlor Dragon Maid, Lorpar, Kitchen, Tinkek, and I believe we have a couple of the fusion monsters down here. You can see Ladies Dragon Maid Shiyu, and House Dragon Maid. These form the core of a nice resource aligning that floats into another body that can be useful later on and can keep your advantage by reviving other Dragon Maids. They also have their in-archetype Dragon Maid Changeover, which is a recyclable fusion spell card for dragon fusion monsters, which is really good in a singleton format where you really need to be holding on to every copy of a card you can get. Beyond the Dragon Maids, we move on to the Dragon Tails, which, if you don't know because they're a fairly new TCG release, are a series of monsters. Specifically, we're using the dragons in this one, and as well as some of the fusion monsters. They are all monsters that take advantage of being sent to the graveyard as fusion material, and Dracotail Arthalion is a great way to bring them back out of the graveyard. Again, more recursion for a very slow, controlling fusion strategy. That doesn't mean it's boring, but it allows you to hold your own for a long time, and in domain format where everyone is going to be fighting each other, that's very important to come out on top. Among these monsters to help the Dragon Tail engine is Dark End Evaporation Dragon, which can banish one of your monsters from your extra deck, one of your fusion dragon monsters, or any sort of dragon monster. In this case, we only have fusions, to then summon itself as a very big beat stick and to be able to have a pop if you really need it, or to fusion summon a monster from your extra deck using any monsters from your hand or field. This can make it really easy to basically play Polymerization as a big monster, which is very, very nice. We also have Mana Dragon Zernatron, which is another form of consistency here that can aid in your dragon fusion style with Dragon Tail. You can see if a spell trap leaves the field because of an opponent's effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, you can special summon this card from the grave or hand, and then set a spell trap that is in the grave or banished. Very, very good and very, very easy to take advantage of and to revive and bring back your spell traps. Beyond the dragon side of things, we also have a spellcaster side, which is more specifically a dark side, because as you can see, this doesn't actually mention spellcasters, but it does mention dark monsters, and a particular series of dark spellcaster monsters we can take advantage of are the Shaddolls. Shaddolls also all benefit from being sent to the graveyard by card effect, including fusion summoning. So you can send the likes of Shaddol Squamata to get other Shaddolls in the grave and in circulation, Shaddol Hedgehog to add other Shaddol, Shaddol Beast for a draw, or Shaddol Dragon to pop spell traps. A very nice utility set of cards that just synergize very well with the rest of the deck, and are fairly on theme for a Dark Magician, Blue Eyes White Dragon themed deck master right here. You might notice we're not actually playing the Shaddol fusion monsters, and that is purely for a political reason, and that political reason being domain politics. See, a lot of times, and I can speak from experience on this one, having played Fossil Dinopachi Cephalo, you don't want to make yourself a target. If you play that one unfun card that prevents everyone else from playing, they will target you until either your monster or that card, or you, is gone. And they will not hesitate to make you gone with it as well. So, I don't recommend playing Winda for that reason, although if you are dead set on doing a little bit of trolling, I won't tell anyone. But while we are on our spellcaster side, we might as well cover our last main package, that being the Dark Magician package. We've got Dark Magician Girl, Magician Souls, and Illusion of Chaos, as well as the brand new OCG cards, the Dark Magician of Destruction and Timaeus the United Magi Dragon. We've also got the Dark Magicians in here as well. Now, these cards, along with Gaze of Timaeus, are a brand new and very easy way to summon fusion monsters that mention Dark Magician. See, Gaze of Timaeus can target Dark Magician or Dark Magician I control or in my graveyard, and fusion summon a fusion monster using just that card. So it is almost free. And interestingly enough, Dark Magician of Destruction counts as Dark Magician on the field or in the graveyard. So by just banishing one of your high-level Dark spellcasters, in this case Dark Magician, you can take advantage of this to have basically a free fusion monster, of which Timaeus the United Magi Dragon is a very strong one. After its special summon until the end of your next turn, it's unaffected by other cards' effects. And if it battles during damage calculation, it can gain attack for spells in the grave. If you're playing a fusion deck, you're going to have a decent number of spells in your grave, but every one of your opponents is going to as well if they are playing decent decks. And during your opponent's turn, you can target a spell trap on the field and destroy it. So a very easy way to take advantage of the Gaze of Timaeus and Dark Magician of Destruction, as well as we've also got the Dark Magicians as an alternative normal fusion target. You can make this with Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl and any of your spellcasters, or such as the Shaddolls. And this is an easy way to keep continuous advantage. Every time once per turn a spell trap is activated, you can draw a card, and then it's a spell trap, you can set it, and then if it was trap or quick play, you can activate it that turn. Which is to say, you draw a card, you can set it if it's a back row, and then if it's a back row, you can activate this turn, like a trap or quick play, you can activate it this turn. And it floats into Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, which is an amazing floating condition to have strong bodies on the field. Finally, we round out the deck with a couple of nice utility cards. We have cards like Transaction Rollback and Rise to Full Height, which can allow you to stall out turns or take advantage of your power traps in extra time. We have Lost Wind, which is a very easy card, and you might recognize it from the NR format. Very easy card to play, and if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck while it's in the graveyard, you can set the card but banish it when it leaves the field. So having a card like this in a singleton format effectively gives you two of it, which is very, very nice. We also have Titanicider, which works very similarly and can be used to take advantage of similar to Lost Wind. We have Painful Choice to set up cards like Transaction Rollback and Rise to Full Height's graveyard effect. You might recognize this from the NR format, but not in a very nice way. And we have a couple of back row designed to either pop your monsters or your spell traps to get the spell traps you want. Mainly the traps, because as you can see here, Trap Tracks and Trapaholic only get the traps, but these traps are some of the best in your deck. And I highly recommend playing them because you can also use them to get the Draco Tail and Dragon Tail cards, which are very, very nice. Now, finally, you can see in the X deck a couple more generic cards. We have actually a small Tearlaments package that I didn't bother mentioning as a category because it's only these couple of cards, but Tearlaments Havnus and Tearlaments Kiklos form a nice engine with instant fusion to make Dragos Tapalia. That's just a nice utility option that you can play. We have a couple of branded cards that, as you can see, another small package just to be able to take advantage of your lights and darks and get them into rotation. Nothing too crazy there, as another way also to get into Dragos Tapalia depending on the situation. And you can see we have Secretarion Dragon for, depending on the matchup, you can revive your dragons and spellcasters as well. We have Chaos Star Source Dragon, which is just a very easy to make generic dragon fusion. It allows you to somewhat break boards on different fields, and if it's banished, which might happen if you are using Magicalized Fusion or some other fusion spell or card that banishes from the grave, you can then revive a level 4 light or dark. You can target a level 4 light dark dragon monster you control, its level becomes 8. Not terribly useful in this deck, but can be taken advantage of in general. We finally have Guardian Chimera, which if you have played against actual Branded in the TCG, you will recognize this card as being a very, very easy to summon card that can only be summoned really with a spell, and if it is summoned by a spell, you can then draw cards, pop cards, very easy card to make, very easy card to use, and it's a fat 3300 attack beatstick. I will say, I love how thematic this deck is. It definitely helps to see that everything was built off of the Deckmaster through a method of organizing what the deck needs, what the deck wants, and what the deck is trying to do. And if you yourself want to explore how Draco built this deck, as I mentioned again, go check out the description below and you will see Draco's video about how he constructed these skill tree strategies. So, thank you all very much for watching. My name is V from the Lavender Lab, and I will see y'all in another video. Peace.